Hey, what's up, Zoners, and welcome to the earliest waiver wire show on the planet. Today, I'm going to be going over all of the players on your waiver wire that you should pick up and how much to spend on them. I'm doing this at the, halftime show of the afternoon game, so there will be more to come. I will comment down below, and I ask you to do the same, man. If I did not cover a player, if there's a player that you think that should be picked up, please look in the comment section and see if he's there. If he's not, add them to the list, man, because this is super important, and this should be a group effort, all right? So we have a wide receiver, dude, on this list with 12-plus targets in 2 of the last 4 weeks, dude. That's pretty crazy. We also have a rookie, first-round rookie wide receiver that broke out this week, got a touchdown. He was compared to DK Metcalf, and, dude, his coach is brand new, and he coached DK Metcalf 2 years ago. Him and Tyler Lockett were both top 15 wide receivers, man, so a lot of potential there. And then we have a running back that I swear to God, dude, I thought he took my second round starting running back's job today. All right, so we're going to go over all of that in a minute, but you got to wait 7 seconds.
You can do it!
All right, let's start off with the running backs, man, and we have to start with this guy right here, Braylon Allen. He is still only 44.9% owned. Holy shit, dude. You telling me half the leagues are not picking up Braylon Allen? For God's sakes, dude. Go out there, spend all your money, get Braylon Allen. I spent $20. It was $20 last week. 8 rushes for 34 yards, 1 reception for 12 yards. Week 4 versus Denver, dude. Denver's defense is insane. But the important thing is that he had 9 touches to Hall's 12. And what did Hall do with those touches, dude? He rushed 10 times for 4 yards, all right? So, not very good there. Trending towards Braylon Allen. Snap share week 1, 18%, 35%, 32%. So he's going to be in there at least 30% of the plays. He is a top-tier handcuff, dude. Top tier. 4th round rookie and the youngest player in the NFL. He does not look like it. They are at Minnesota next week, week 5. They are giving up the 6th fewest fantasy points per game at 15.1, dude. That is terrible. And they just held, Green Bay to 86 total rushing yards week 4. Not a great matchup for Braylon Allen, but still, go pick him up. Next up, dude, I can't believe this guy's only 37% owned. Rico Dowdle, I get it, dude. The Cowboys cannot run the ball, but something will click, dude. This offense is going to click eventually, I think. But he's totally worth being on your bench, man. I spent $15 on Rico Dowdle. He led Dallas with 11 rushes for 46 yards, and he did have a reception touchdown, dude. He was getting all those reception touchdowns last year. He finally got one this year, dude, for 12 fantasy points in a PPR league. That is a flex option to me, and and that was against the Giants. That was kind of a disappointment, actually, but still. 47% snap share week 4. Zeke had 18%. So, dude, he is owning this backfield. For saying what that is, the backfield sucks, but he owns it. They are at Pittsburgh week 5. In Pittsburgh, man, they are killing running backs. The 2nd fewest fantasy points per game to running backs at 12.0. That sucks. But Jonathan Taylor still had 86 yards and a touchdown week 4, but that offensive line is elite, and he is doing well this year. So, yeah, dude, Rico Dowdle, probably start him in your flex the week after next. But still, you need to pick him up, man. He is worth being on your team. Kareem Hunt, man. I just watched Carson Steele fumble and lose it. So Kareem Hunt is coming, dude. He's coming. The Kareem rises to the top, man. 21.5% owned. So he's owned out of 1 out of 5 leagues pretty much. $10 I'd spend on him. Signed back to the Chiefs after Pacheco fractured his fibula. So I keep on hearing about Pacheco being out at least 2 months, maybe longer. All right. So 7 rushing touchdowns, 7 receptions. Anyways, dude, he's really good. He did really well in 2018 with the Chiefs, but hey, just last year he had 9 rushing touchdowns in 15 games for Cleveland in 2023. If he is just the goal line back, dude, he is a flex option on your team. They are hosting New Orleans week 5. That is next week. They're giving up the 11th fewest fantasy points to running backs at 17.5 points per game. And they did hold Atlanta to 88 total rushing yards week 4. So New Orleans' run defense, pretty good. But Kareem Hunt, man, just needs that touchdown. All right, here we go, dude. DeAndre Swift came back with a vengeance, all right? But still, Roschon Johnson, we heard about it all week that he was going to be featured, not exclusively, but featured around the goal line more and stuff like that. Well, he did get that, 13.4% owned. $5 I'd spend on him. 7 rushes, only 7 rushes, no receptions. for 26 yards and a touchdown versus the Rams, dude. And the Rams front seven is depleted as shit. All right, the Rams defense is terrible right now. I thought they were going to be way better. Now, Swift had 23 touches and over 150 yards and a touchdown. Swift actually looked really good. I did not expect him to do that well. But Roschon Johnson, probably going to be put back on the back burner for a little bit, maybe get some goal line carries. Probably not worth $5. I'd probably spend $1 on him, so I'd probably move that back. But when the way that game was going in the first half, I thought Roschon Johnson was going to be leading in touches. It did not go that way. 4th round draft pick in 2023. So, hey, man, this coaching staff did invest in him. They're hosting Carolina in week 5, and Carolina's giving up the 5th most fantasy points per game, 25.5 points, dude, to running backs. They gave up 130 yards and 2 touchdowns to Chase Brown and Moss this week. So, great matchup for Roschon Johnson and DeAndre Swift next week. And then here we go, dude. Tyler Algier, dude. I was texting Jason. I was like, hey, man, what happened to Bijan Robinson? Is he injured? Apparently not. Tyler Algier should be over 50% owned. He is not. 42%. I spent $5, maybe even 10 on him. 8 rushes for 60 yards. 2 receptions for 20 yards versus New Orleans week 4 this week. So 10 touches to Bijan's 11. I was like, what the fuck's going on, dude? Bijan rushed 7 times for 28 yards. I've been watching Bijan. He is great at picking up blitzes and catching balls, but as far as running the ball, I have not seen anything too special. Tyler Algier always pops up. I'm like, oh yeah, man, Bijan just did awesome. It's always Tyler Algier that pops up from the dog pile after that. But again, dude, he's a top tier handcuff. Hosting Tampa Bay week 5. They're giving up the 7th most fantasy points per game, 25 points per game to running backs. Weeks 1 through 3, they did hold Saquon to 12 touches for 116 yards. Saquon was not doing shit for a minute in that game, but they had no weapons. Everybody was out for the Eagles. Can't really take much from that game. Should be a good matchup for Tyler Algier and Bijan next week. And this guy right here, dude. I was working on the show. I drafted ETN in the 2nd round. I did not want to. Jonathan Taylor almost fell to me, dude. Oh my God, my team would be so awesome right now with him. But ETN, I just had to take him. I didn't like the wide receivers there, and ETN, pass catching running backs, dude, don't come around too much. And then Tank Bigsby came out week 1, fucking 12 touches. I was so afraid. And then Tank Bigsby injured week 2, kind of coming off that injury week 3, came back and was, dude, I had like the first 5 rushes. ETN was not even there. Apparently, he was on the sideline with his helmet in his arms. He had a shoulder injury I had never even heard about, all right? But ETN eventually came in. But Tank Bigsby, dude, every time he touches the ball, he's like Braylon Allen, dude. He gets 5, 10 yards per carry. 2nd round draft pick in 2023. I remember this last year. I was all about Tank Bigsby, and he sucked. He is not a top-tier handcuff, but he is a handcuff. They are hosting Indianapolis week 5. They're giving up the 18th most fantasy points per game, 19.4. To running backs, weeks 1 through 3, they did hold Najee to 13 carries for 19 yards. Cordell Patterson did better. We'll talk about that in a minute. Dude, Jaleel McLaughlin. Dude, what the fuck is this backfield? I think I would rather have Batty, but Batty got injured right off the bat, dude. Batty. Anyways, got injured right off the batty. 31% owned, pretty much. $5 I'd spent on him. 9 rushes for 46 yards. Dude, Javonte went 16 for 77. It's the best save rush in a long time. The Jets can't stop. Huff's out there trying to stop the run. No, he's for the Eagles, but still. I don't want anything to do with this backfield, but he is worth being maybe on your bench. I would try to get Beatty still. But hey, dude, Jaleel McLaughlin ranked 6th in forced missed tackles per touch in 2023, and that is a great stat to have. They're hosting Las Vegas, and they're giving up the 2nd most fantasy points per game, dude. To running backs weeks 1 through 3, Las Vegas is sucking, and they're giving up a ton of points to running backs. They're going down by a lot, and people are running it and running it and running it. So great matchup for Jaleel and the Broncos next week, dude. And then this guy right here, I had him up like $10, $15, and then I saw he got carted off the field. So Cordell Patterson, 7% owned. Jaylen Warren is out with a knee injury. Najee is the most inefficient running back of all time. And this guy came in, went 6 for 43, and I was like, dude, and 2 receptions for 19. This is vintage Cordell Patterson. He got carted off the field. So we need to see how that goes, dude. I can't say put more than $1 on him, on a guy that got carted off the fucking field, man. So he only had 1 total touchdown last year with Arthur Smith. And guess what, dude? He was a first-round draft pick by my Vikings, Minnesota, in 2013. So he's been around for a long time, but he is talented. Hosting Dallas week 5, they are giving up the most, dude. The number 1 most fantasy points per game to running backs by a wide margin, man. Almost 37 points per week. They did hold Singletary to 12 rushes for 24 yards this week. That was surprising, but great matchup. If Cordell Patterson suits up next week, dude, I will be picking his ass up. And then here we go, man. Here's a couple. We're going through the handcuffs. Trey Benson, 32% owned, man. Top tier handcuff at San Francisco. I was watching that game, and you can run on San Francisco next week. I'm not watching that game. That's in the future. I was just watching San Francisco versus somebody. So yeah, dude, pick up Trey Benson. He should be owned by 50%. And if you own James Conner like I do, your ass better own him. And then Ray Davis, dude, if you were out there with James Cook, go out and pick Ray Davis. Rushing touchdown week 3, top tier handcuff. Dude, the Bills are rushing at a top 5 highest rate, and they are at Houston. Houston giving up their linebackers, dude, Singletary and everything. They are holding running backs, but they did give up 140 rushing yards total to ETN and Tank week 4. So there is hope to run on Houston. But yeah, Ray Davis, top tier handcuff. And then the last handcuff, Isaac Garindo. Dude, Christian McCaffrey's supposed to be coming back. I'll believe it when I see it, dude. And this guy is, 4th round rookie, 4.3 speed. So pick him up if you own Jordan Mason or Christian McCaffrey. They're hosting Arizona, and that is a good matchup. On to the wide receivers, dude. Quentin Johnston. Lad McConkey's actually taking off right now. I was saying that I like Quentin Johnston. Oh, yeah, because who are they playing? McDuffie. I think that McDuffie is probably on Quentin Johnston right now. So I was saying that Lad McConkey will probably have the better game. But most weeks, I do like Quentin Johnston. Go pick him up, man. Spend at least $15 to get him. 3 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. This offense will be getting nothing but better as the year goes. And yeah, dude, he was a 21st overall pick last year. So the talent is there. But the Chargers have the fourth lowest passing rate in the NFL. So not a huge piece of that pie for him. And he does have the bye week in week 5. So if you want to pick him up, dude, you probably don't even have to spend $15. Put 10 because nobody wants him because the bye week is next week. Next up, man, Wan'Dale Robinson. I'm sad when I say it because I wish I would have picked him up, dude. He was sitting there on my waivers, and I'm like, I don't want the second wide receiver from the fucking Giants, man. 27% owned, $10 I'd spend on him. 11 receptions on 14 targets for 71 yards. Dude, that's 18 PPR points. If you are in PPR, go out and get Wan'Dale Robinson, for God's sakes. 12 plus targets in 2 of the last 4 games. Malik Neighbors, he's drawing so much attention. It is opening things up for Wan'Dale Robinson, man. And so by the end of the game, it just seems like Wan'Dale catches up on targets almost. So Wan'Dale will be getting a ton of targets. I mean, the defense is a lot better than I thought they would be, but they will still be giving up a ton of points and needing to throw the ball a ton. He was a 2nd round draft pick, dude, 2 years ago by Brian Daboll. So the draft capital is there. And then at Seattle week 5, and I would not want to start anybody against Seattle week 5. Hopefully they get some of their defensive line back, dude. But the Seattle defense with Mike McDaniels or whatever that used to coach the Ravens defense is killing shit with those cornerbacks. So bad matchup for Wan'Dale next week. Then, hey, man, I'm super excited about this guy right here. Josh Downs. I had him last year. I was super pumped on him because I love Shane Steichen. Owned in 1 out of every 10 leagues pretty much. $5. He had 9 targets, 82 yards, and a touchdown. Michael Pittman was the star, came back to be the star of the show, but that was with Joe Flacco. So Anthony Richardson was actually in last week with Josh Downs' first game back this season. Josh Downs had a 25% target share, man. So Michael Pittman was being forgotten with Anthony Richardson. It looks like Josh Downs might survive both quarterbacks. I love Joe Flacco. Please keep Joe Flacco in, but they're still trying to figure out Anthony Richardson. I think they're going to give him till the end of the year. I think that he will be back. And even with him, Josh Downs should be successful. 3rd round draft pick last year, so high draft capital from Shane Steichen. They're at Jacksonville week 5. Jacksonville's giving up the 10th most fantasy points per game. 31 to wide receivers week 1 through 3 and gave up, 150 yards and a touchdown to Nico. Holy shit. And then here we go, man. I'm super pumped on this guy. I think I'm going to try to get this guy this week. Xavier Legette. He was compared to DK Metcalf coming into the season. 25% owned, so he's available in 3 out of 4 leagues, man. $5 I'd spend on him, maybe even 10, 15. 6 receptions on 10 targets with a touchdown. He did have 2 rushes as well. Week 4 versus Cincinnati. He had a 25% target share this week. All right, so that's great. 10 targets. He threw the ball 40 times, I'm pretty sure. 7 targets week 1. even with Bryce Young. So they want to get this rookie involved. He's like I said, first round rookie, and Adam Thielen is out with a hamstring, dude. He's on IR, so 4 weeks. Where we were wondering who was going to step up for Adam Thielen. Looks like it's going to be Xavier Legette, and if you get a first round rookie to step in for you for that long, holy shit, man, he should be taking over stuff. And like I said, dude, DK and Lockett both top 16 with Canales in 2022, and Evans and Godwin both top 28. So you can really almost support 2 wide receivers, like two top 20, 30 wide receivers. I'm just thinking like he could be a wide receiver 2 for you, even with Deontay Johnson being a wide receiver 1. That's kind of my thought process. But they are at Chicago next week, and holy shit, dude, Chicago, you cannot throw the ball against them. Terrible matchup. Then hey, man, last of the wide receivers, I have to throw him in here. Jordan Whittington, 4% owned, $1. He did have 8 targets. He got those 8 targets fast. He led the team with that. But Chicago, I think it was all about those cornerbacks on Tutu and DeMarcus. So that was more of a, I'm not really into Jordan Whittington, but I do have to put him in here because he led his team in targets, and he did have a lot of preseason hype. Kupp is out at least 2 more weeks. Puka out at least another 4. And yeah, dude, he was a preseason man, and Kupp loved him, took him under his wing. So I thought he was going to take over for Kupp, but it is not going to happen like that. So just try to trade for Kupp. Go try to do something else. If you're desperate, you can play Jordan Whittington, but I would expect Tutu and Robinson to be way better next week. On to the quarterbacks, man. We got 2 of them. We got 2 other quarterbacks. Oh, yeah, we got them. Sam Darnold, 42% owned, man. He went from 16% owned last week to 42% owned. I started him in both my leagues. He actually had to throw the ball a little bit more today, 28 times for 275 yards for 3 touchdowns. All right, he's getting a little wild. He was super efficient in the first half. Then started not completing throws, threw an interception second half. So quarterback 4 heading into week 4, and he's living up to it again, dude. So he is literally a QB1 for your fantasy team. Nick Mullins scored 19 plus fantasy points in 4 or 5 starts for the Vikings in 2023. So this is a Kevin O'Connell deal. If you could throw the ball halfway decent, man, you could be a great quarterback in the system. Hawkinson is going to return. You saw what happened with Addison's return today. Caught a touchdown. They are hosting the Jets week 5, and the Jets just shut the shit out of Bo Nix, dude. What held Bo Nix to 60 yards and a touchdown, man. So I am afraid for Sam Darnold next week, but hey, pick him up when people don't want him. And then Joe Flacco, man, 0.2% owned for good reason, because we did not know he was going to be playing, man. I bet you the Browns wishes they had Joe Flacco, for God's sakes. Dude, threw the ball 26 times for 168 yards and 2 touchdowns, but that was against Pittsburgh, man. So Pittsburgh's got one of the best defenses in the league right now. If he was against a bad team, he will kill it. He is a QB1. He was a quarterback 7 weeks 13 through 18. So that's 5 weeks last year. That's a pretty decent sample size, man. And yeah, they have Jacksonville next week, and they're giving up the 3rd most fantasy points to a quarterback. So pick up Joe Flacco and start him next week, for God's sakes. And then tight ends, Taysom Hill, dude. I was going to say, hey, this is going to be the stretch where you can start Taysom Hill. We had a banged up Alvin Kamara. He is not catching anything. He's not throwing anything, which is kind of crazy, but he is running the ball on the goal line. So 24 yards, 2 touchdowns this week, but he left the game with an abdominal injury. So we have to pay attention to that, because Kamara's already playing with a goddamn ab injury. He's got a broken rib, dude. So averaging 4 rushing attempts per game before week 4. And yeah, I'm just saying, man, as long as Kamara's banged up, expect Taysom Hill to get those goal line carries. I thought it was going to be Jamal Williams, but apparently not. They're at Kansas City, and Kansas City, dude, is doing very well against running backs, which is what Taysom Hill is. He's a tight end running back. So not a great matchup, but still, I would expect him to get a touchdown next week if Kamara is still banged up. And then Tucker Kraft, man, Tucker Kraft was the man to own at the end of last season. 4.5% owned, $1 I spent on him, 9 targets, dude, against my Vikings. Again, dude, to attack the Vikings, I think they are vulnerable for the tight end. You saw George Kittle. That's how they exposed him. They exposed the Vikings a couple weeks ago. Only 12% target share heading into week 4, so not great. But still, he scored 10 plus fantasy points for for a month, pretty much last year. So that's pretty good in PPR. Keep your eye on that, because Musgrave was a 2nd round draft pick there, but Kraft looks like the guy to own in this offense. At the Rams week 5, they're giving up the 4th most fantasy points to tight ends. That is a good matchup. And hey, they did hold Kmet to fucking nothing after that huge week last week. And all right, man, last up, defense. Go pick up the Broncos, man. The Broncos defense is fucking crazy, man. We already knew about Surtain, and you saw what they're doing this week. I think they're just getting better. And then guess what? They have an amazing matchup next week. Las Vegas. They get to host Las Vegas at altitude. So yeah, Broncos, man, they're available in 19 out of 20 leagues. So go pick them up and start them. All right, everybody, that is the show. If you want to help us out, please give us a thumbs up. That will push us out to a lot more people. And that is what this show needs right now, man. So, hey, hopefully I earned a thumbs up. Hopefully I earned that subscription. And hey, don't forget to look in the comments down below after Sunday night game, Monday night game. There will be more people added. And hey, let me know if I'm stupid on some of these people for even putting them on this list. And again, comment down below to add more people, dude. This is the Fantasy Red Zone. This is Tyler, Big Turd Ward, and I appreciate you. Don't forget our drinking episodes on Friday.